I'm Nina Lenton. Welcome to Creative Conversations, where I ask my guests, what does the word creativity mean to you? I'm here with Angela Lyons, who is a graphic designer. Over to you to give us a quick introduction.
Oh, hi Nina. Lovely to see you. Lovely to be here on your podcast. So thank you so much for inviting me. Yes, I am Ange. Well, most people call me Ange. I have a graphic design business called Lyons Creative, and I've been doing graphic design now for over, I want to say like 30 years. That's going to make me sound really old, but yeah, about that much. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
So you've been doing graphic design for a long time. Did you study graphic design, or did you sort of happen upon it?
The last one, happen upon it. It was interesting actually, because I went to Central St Martin's and I studied product design as my degree. So I got my degree in product design, and my final piece, I made a backpack, and during the course, which was really cool, which I've actually seen about nowadays, and then during the course I've made furniture, made children's toys. So I loved making, I loved creating, I loved going into the workshops and using the woodwork and the spindle, everything about that, and the metalworks, but I got my degree, and it was weird because I couldn't get a job in product design. I'd had a few interviews, had my one of my pieces displayed in Business Design Centre for Young Designers of the Year. So that was all great, all good exposure. Then actually the nitty-gritty of getting a job, and I couldn't get one. But luckily during that time I kind of had an internship with Habitat. I say internship because I thought it was going to be an internship, but I was covering someone on reception. Habitat head office in London, so where they make furniture and they do the household goods. And it was actually going on the reception in their design studio because their receptionist had gone on maternity leave. So I was covering for her for a few weeks, and I was like, but you know what? This is good. I'm going to stay here still. So I'd never been a receptionist for my life. I was a receptionist, and there was a guy in the corner doing graphic design, and I was like, what are you up to? So he said, come over on lunch break and I'll show you what I'm doing. And literally that was it. I just started watching what he was doing. I took an evening class in graphic design, and I trained to be a graphic designer and trained myself up.
Just because you happened to be somewhere and spot something and...
Yeah. It was funny, during my course and throughout, I suppose, all my life, I've always liked graphics and seeing things and making things up from what I see, but I never really translated that into work, if you know what I mean. It was like I'd always liked doing nice presentations when I was presenting my product design work, and I'd make it all look lovely, but I didn't really see that as a road that I was going down. So I always thought, I'm going to make things, I want to do making. So that's what I had in my head. But yeah, graphic design was the way to go, and I made money from it too. So it was making money from my creativity.
I mean, have you ever gone back to doing any product design?
Do you know what? I haven't. Funny enough, recently, just through people I've met some ceramicists, and they've said, come join us in the studio, have do a free trial, or come and hang out with us. And I was like, yeah. And I haven't yet, but that sounds really cool. That sounds really cool to do, and that's part of product design. So I haven't gone back to it, but I love looking at products and buying them. Too much sometimes, but yeah.
Right. Oh, well, that's really interesting how you came upon that. So, so what sort of design do you do? Because I know there are all sorts of different graphic designers doing different things. So what
it's
are your
interesting,
things?
yeah, because a lot of my things are that my first love is magazines. I love designing magazines. They're the things that I started off my career in. Funny enough, designing a tractor magazine, but that wasn't the best thing ever, obviously. But then I moved on to a publishing company, and I designed a lot of B2B corporate magazines, and then we moved into more customer facing ones. So that was always my love. Now I still do magazines, but throughout the years, through people knowing that I do design, they see that I also do other things. So I do branding, so I create brands for people, and I work with brand guidelines if they've already got them. And also I design websites during Squarespace, because funny enough, again, that came through. It's so weird how sometimes you design things for yourself and then people say, oh, I like that. And can I have one? So that's how the websites came about. So I've been doing that for people. And also recently I've started doing newsletter design. So I've been creating banners for people and then helping them with their newsletters, getting the structure of the newsletter and making it just a little bit different sometimes, because sometimes you can get straightforward, just this is my text and here's the newsletter. But I think, why don't you think creatively about this? Like, break it up into sections, have something more fun about you, inject a bit of business into it too. So that's what So that's kind of the designs I've been doing. What else I've been doing? Yeah, so I'd say mainly because I call myself a brand and marketing graphic designer. So I do branding, marketing designs. So that could be anywhere from, pop-up buttons to banners to flyers to brochures to infographics, all that sort of things. What you need to promote your business or sell something within your business.
Yeah. And where do you get your inspiration? Where do your ideas come from for things that you do?
Do you know what? Other people. What other people are doing. Honestly, I think, especially in graphic design, you get so many trends, so many things that are in front of us, and it's just, it's a lot. It gets a lot, and sometimes I have to switch off because I'm like, this is too much. But I do get inspiration from other people, see what other people are doing. And do you know what? Daily life, just going out and about, being on the bus, looking out the window. Honestly, the amount of crazy things that I've seen that I think, that's fun. And why did they do that? And then maybe if I did it this way, I would change it like this. And then that starts inspiring me, thinking, I could do that on my project that I'm doing at home. So, it's pretty much all around. I'm in London. I'm based in London. So if there's anything like an exhibition that I think that might inspire me, I'll definitely go and check that out. I love photography too. And again, I think that translates into helping my clients, but most of the time it's just there's so much around us all the time, and obviously it's visual, so it's everywhere. and I mean, especially somewhere like London, there's if ever I go to London, I was in London on Friday actually, and there's the buildings, you look up at the buildings, you've just got stuff happening around every corner, haven't you? Yeah. Dare one of my children say to me they're bored, I'm like, there's nothing to be bored about. I can find you something to do, especially if we're walking out and about. Architecture, that's one of the things in London I think a lot of people forget. I love telling stories about architecture too, the things that I've picked up. I don't know if you've seen some buildings in London, the windows are bricked in. And like my kids were like, why is that bricked in? And I'm like, because I know it's not a feature. It's actually a thing that there was a taxes, and one of the kings said, we're going to have to pay you more if you have more windows. So people started bricking up their windows. So you see all these Georgian buildings, and they're lovely. And they're just like, got a missing window. That's the reason why.
Yeah.
So again, it's just the people thought creatively about that, didn't they?
Well, yes. Well, I mean, anything saving money, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Even in those days, it was something they needed to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So, so you get inspiration from all of those sorts of places. Do you feel like you're someone who has lots of ideas?
Yeah, and one of my ideas is that when I do get the ideas, I think, I'm going to buy the web domain name for that because that might come off or that might take off. So I was actually talking to one of a freelancer the other day over on Instagram, and I was asking him a question about some web domains. And he said he's got the same problem. It's like when we get these ideas, we think, oh my God, let's buy the domain. And I said, I've got to stop. I've really got to stop. So we've made a pact to stop buying domain names if we have ideas, especially if we don't use them. But ideas are popping up all the time. It's hard because you need to know what's going to have, take as much energy, or is it really worth doing it? Or is it just an idea that you think, should I follow this through or not? And it's always ideas.
It definitely, yes. And it's funny you said about the website domains. I've had this conversation with so many people because I'm a bit of a domain name collector. And I saw come through on my email a couple of days ago that something had renewed, and I looked and thought, I'm not using that one. Like, I try and go in and catch them and just sort of say, I'm not using that one. I really must cancel that one. But yeah, you do though, don't you? You just sort of, that idea, and you think, but everyone's going to want to buy that name because everyone else is going to have had this idea. I have to buy it now because otherwise someone will buy it in the next hour.
Exactly, because somebody else is really thinking about this name right now. Yeah.
So I mean, how do you manage your ideas if you've got all these ideas kind of pinging around?
It's funny actually because I was talking to some freelance friends, and I've come up with does it serve me or does it stress me? So if I've got all these ideas, I think and I just think, is it going to stress me out if I do this, or should I just I'll just park it for now and then I'll come back to it if I need to. So at the moment I'm in a bit of a stress or serve era, should I say.
So that sounds quite disciplined, actually not choosing not to pursue an idea. because I don't tend to have big crazy ideas. I have lots of little ideas, but over the summer I actually got quite good at just sticking them into a Trello board to look at later, because it was the summer holidays. I knew I wasn't going to have time to do anything with them, but just keeping them there means that I know that I can go back to them if I want to. And that's something that I do talk to the clients I work with. I quite often say, look, let's just create an ideas bank, whether it's a document or a Trello board, and just put them in there. They're still there. They're going to come. You can come back to them later. You're not going to lose them.
Yeah, actually, you know what? That's a really good point, actually, because you do. I don't know about you, but I do have lots of notebooks on my desk. But I know I've got a notebook, one for clients, one for creatives like us, and one that's just like milling around for just any other doodles. But if it's a really important thing, I will put it digitally, and I'll put it either in a Trello board, and then I'll start making notes in a Google Doc, because you can come back to all my notes. If I'm out and about, it's on my phone, my notes app on my phone, because it is so important to get these ideas down, because if you don't, you will forget. And I've forgotten many times about thinking something that I thought of, including the name of my own podcast. So I was actually on a train with a friend, Molly, and we were coming back from an event, and we were talking about podcasts, and I was telling her I've got the podcast idea, and she said, yeah, I know, and it's like, you're going to do it, you're going to do it. I was like, but I don't know what to call it. I've had this idea for like 2 years. I'm still thinking about the name. And I was like, and we started thrashing out all these names. We were on the train and we were thinking of all these names. And then I just thought, you know what? I'm sure I've written this down somewhere. And then I looked in my notes app and I saw it in my notes app, and I'd written it like 2 years ago. The name Creatives Like Us. And then I was like, as soon as I get home, I'm going to buy the domain name. And I did.
Yeah.
So I did. I went home.
And you have actually launched it, though.
And that was one of the creative projects I launched. So I launched my podcast, Creatives Like Us, this year in January. It's been great. I speak to creatives who are black, brown creatives and have their business or do something alongside what they're doing, but just to amplify them, to give them a platform to share their work, inspire others. And I hope it does inspire others, especially younger people coming out thinking, oh, I can't do that, or I haven't seen anyone that looks like me doing that. I think that's really important. So that's why I started it. So yeah, and I love chatting.
Well, it's just good to be able to get different people's point of view, isn't it? And because everyone's arrived at where they are, or everyone is where they are now by having done different things. Even if you speak to 12 graphic designers, they'll all have come to it a different way, and they'll all have different interests, and they'll all kind of you'd have different conversations with them all, wouldn't you?
100% you would. Yeah, definitely. It's like with anyone, really. Everyone's got their different it's funny, actually, in the podcast I call it the catalyst connection, where somebody's met somebody and changed their train of thinking or part of their life. And I'm sure you've had someone in your life that thought maybe what you're doing now has maybe inspired you to do what you're doing. And so you've always got someone in your life that can, inspire you.
Definitely, yeah. And I think that also comes to it's the people around you as well, isn't it? I think sometimes you can have, I've had plenty of moments in what I've been doing where I've had a conversation with somebody and they've said, oh, that's interesting. And it's made me think, oh, actually, they have a different point of view on this. And actually, I can do something with that. And that conversations have definitely kind of led to me trying things and trying to experiment with whether something works or going in a slightly new direction because I had a conversation with somebody. So exactly. Yeah, you're right. Conversations.
Yeah, your catalyst connection.
Yes. Oh, I'm going to think about that now. Actually,
yeah, use it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
So I know that you also have an event of the same name, don't you? The Creative Podcast.
Yeah.
Which came first? Was it the podcast or the event?
The podcast came first. And funny enough, I started recording that in October 2024, and then at the same time, Io, co-founder of Creators Like Us, the event, saw something online on Instagram, and it was reposted by Frankie from Doing It for the Kids, and it was about an event space in London that was looking to highlights and promotes creatives or people that had that were of colour or marginalised, and they wanted to give them a free space in their buildings. And what happened was, so there was a space in Shoreditch that was giving up their building for free. So I said, we should put something on. That was literally how it came about. And I was like, well, she said, we'll put something on for black creatives. And I said, well, I'm doing my podcast. Why don't we do it around that and like call it Creatives Like Us too? So that's how the event literally came about. So yeah, it was in February we had our first event, and then we had another one this June, and our third one is coming up this October, which is great because it's actually Black History Month in October this year when we're doing it. So it's brilliant. It's really good. So I'm glad that we're doing it around that month and highlighting the space we're in. And have to give a shout out to Us Too in Shoreditch. They're an amazing design company, and they've given us the space for free, and so we really appreciate that.
That's brilliant. So, and it sounds, from what I've seen of all the posts after you've done the events, it looks like it's quite a nice little community that you've built up. And what sort of topics have you talked about at those events?
Yeah, so we've talked about, and it's funny because the word Creatives Like Us, I think we were talking about it, and like so Vanessa below and Aya Abbas, they're the partners and co-founders in setting it up, and we all talk about the word creatives because we think we might be putting some people off, but then when we actually do the events and we work around your business, everybody in the room is a creative because they have to market their business. So we talk about marketing, we get around the table and we ask people, so we give sessions where we have hives, we call them. So you come to the evening with a question around your business or something that you're stuck on or something you might just want to celebrate, and you talk about it within a small group. So yeah, you're right, it's very... It's a small group, it's not massive. The maximum we've had so far is about 40 people. And the last one we had about just under 30. So you go into small groups, you talk about your business, and then we thrash it out between us. And it's really good because people, well, especially if it's in a small group, everybody gets a chance to speak, and there's a moderator in the group, and they work on their business, they talk about what they need. And then this time is reflect, refine and reimagine, and that's the theme. So we're going into Q4, so we're asking people to come with what they've had, challenges they've had this year, celebrations they've had this year, and what's their outlook for next year. So it's funny because a lot of people thought they're just going to be sitting down listening to people, which they will do because we'll have like talks, but it's also working on you and bringing it down to you and what you want to get out of it.
That's an important part of going to events, isn't it? I mean, I went to one on Friday where it was a full day thing, but there were speakers, there were panels, there were things that we had to sit there for 5 minutes and think about, and then you get to talk to the other people who were there. So I think it's valuable, isn't it, to just be able to have conversations with people.
Exactly, it's a nice balance, isn't it? A really nice balance, like to actually hear from people that could inspire you, but also the other people around you, the attendees, inspire you too. Yeah.
So, so you mentioned there about the word creatives, and I realised that actually quite often I'll ask this question at the beginning when I'm talking to somebody. But what does the word creativity mean to you? How would you define it?
It's funny because, again, when I was thinking of the name Creatives Like Us, I actually went back to the beginning. I thought, what is actually the definition of create? And it is to bring into being. And like a lot of people think creativity has to be, I have to be a painter, or I have to be an artist, or I have to do this, or I have to do that. And it really isn't. It really isn't. And I think so creative to me is anything that you bring into existence that you think that's going to work, that you're going to reimagine something, you're going to be... And sometimes it's not even about being brand new about something. So creativity to me means just whatever you bring in to being, I'd say.
Yeah. I've thought about this quite a lot because I ended up getting drawn to working with creative people, but then struggled with defining it because you use the word creative and people think, oh yeah, but I'm not creative. And then sometimes you can talk about creative and people think, oh, that's a graphic designer. Or creativity is all about art. And so I've kind of come up with my definition, which is that you've got creative expression and you've got creative thinking. And so actually creative thinking is all the stuff about it's all the stuff about having ideas, and that you can still be creative even if you're just helping someone bring out an idea. You're still playing a role in the creative process. And then the creative expression is all that stuff like writing and painting.
The outlet, I suppose, is the output, isn't it? So that bit is the expression, is the output.
Yeah, so actually the thinking is the input and the process, and then the expression is the output. And that could be music or gardening or writing, drawing, all sorts of different things.
Yeah, so that's why it's quite hard to describe. But that's a really good way to put it, though, because it is, as I said, a lot of people, especially when they come to our event, they think, oh, I'm not creative. And it's just like, you are a creative. You are, And then I see some people turn up and what they're wearing. I'm like, oh, my God, that is just, you are creative. Look at what you're wearing. You're like, this is amazing, So that's the expression, isn't it? So they're being, creative with what they're wearing.
Yeah. So do people that come to your event, do they work in creative roles, or are they just drawn to it because they like the word creative and they like what that stands for?
Most of them are. We've had a fitness instructor come, and he's quite creative because I see what he does on Instagram, and he's like really cool. So I see what he does, and he's a personal trainer, and he only works with people online. So, but I've met him in person actually. We've had social media managers come. We've had an artist. We've had an illustrator. We have a marketer. So it's a real mix of people that come. So it's not only someone in PR too. So I think, as we said, I think when people come, they've also got to think about promoting their business. So that is one of our main things, promoting themselves and what they're doing within their business and talking about their business. And that is creativity in itself. And we give ideas on we give prompts and things to think about and what to write about going forward. What can you do, next time before we meet up, or, that sort of thing. So it's just, it's a real mix of people, I'd say, real mix.
That's interesting though, when you talk about marketing being creative, because it's something that as people who work for ourselves, you actually spend a lot more time doing marketing than perhaps you might realise when you first start working for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know about you, but I am forever updating my website, or writing a blog on there, or putting social media posts out, or doing a bit of SEO in the background. So it's just like we're always doing something to market ourselves. And you watch. Do you know what's really great is that there's so many people you can learn from, and they're doing it in their own. It's funny. I know you know. Do you know Nikki Pilkington? You know Nikki, don't you?
Yes,
so
I do,
you see her and how she shows up? I think that's so creative. Like she just and she gets other people on board because she's just being herself and her expressions, and it's just people are like drawn to that. So I think that's also part of creativity, and I think where probably one of the things that I'm drawn to is that it is about just bringing out who you are, and it's about we've all got different strengths and different interests and different personalities and different sort of ways of being, and actually it is creative how you then express those. Exactly that. I mean, also people think that just going back to what I do, like I market myself. I suppose it is market, but I have a monthly newsletter called Font Love Friday. So I talk about fonts, and I talk about creatives in there, and I talk about people who've done new designs, or and I talk about freelancing too. So I try and share that in the newsletter and keep people updated with that, as well as so you can cross that to be a bit of marketing for yourself too. So you also throw in people that certain things about, so, design or what's out there in the industry, but then also telling people, hi, I'm here, but do it in a fun way, do it in, not too stuffy, boring way. And that's, as I said, it's kind of like transitioned me. People that have read my newsletter said, oh, can you help me with my newsletter? So it's one of those things that being creative,
demonstrating what you can do, and some of freelancing is seeing what people ask you for as well, isn't it?
Exactly that. Add another service there. So
but you also do some stuff with Freelancer magazine, which is obviously the brilliant magazine for freelancers, which also has a co-working community.
Yeah, Freelancer magazine is great, and it's a beautiful magazine. I love designing it. Designed it from scratch. Came up with the logo, came up with the colours, and it's just came up with the fonts to use and the layout, and it's a really nice. It's funny, it's interesting actually because it was quite. I'm not saying it was fun I suppose the first few issues, sorry, should I say, they were really fun and quite funky, and then we've also. It's still a bit funky, don't get me wrong, but toned it down to business, or honed it up, should we say, to business, because I think a lot of freelancers forget that they are a business, and so that's more where we're going to at the moment, saying don't forget you are a business, whereas, it's all lovely, nice being freelance, but you got to pay the bills, and we need to see yourself as a business, and you got to be professional, all that sort of stuff. It's just one of those things where you have to promote yourself all the time. And I love Freelancer magazine. It's got so many ideas in there to help you in your business. It's got the planning sheets, so many stories from other people in the community, events that are coming up. You said the co-working sessions. Oh my gosh! Sometimes, most times they're a lifeline, especially if you're feeling down or you're just like, I just need to get across this bit. I just need to finish this design, or I need to finish writing this. And it's like, right, I'm going to focus 45 minutes, and it is like a communal Pomodoro timer.
Well, it is, and it's just so. The thing that I like about it, I have a particular piece of work that I quite often bring to it because it's something I have to do every month, and it just means that I get down and I focus on it, and I just like the fact that I know it's there. I can turn up and I get to have a conversation with some other freelancers in the break, because we do breakout sessions. And you just never know who you're going to meet and what kind of weird and wonderful conversations you're going to have.
Yeah. I love the conversation because they're not scripted, or there's no prompts. It's literally just, hi, how are you? And then something like you might have the penguin in the background. It's like someone says, why have you got a penguin in the background? And so we start chatting about the penguin, and it's like, then you find out all about you. And it's just, and then sometimes it is, some people are, struggling for work, and someone says, oh, why don't you, have you tried here, or have you tried here, or they keep an ear out for them, eye out for them. So it's all those things that, it's so hard as a small business, and that you just need other people, so not to be in isolation.
Definitely, yes. I think do you do quite a lot of networking in your work?
I do. As I said, I like chatting, and I also like. But it's interesting. I do like. It's funny. I never used to like chatting. I really didn't. When I was younger, I do a lot of networking. Again, I've been a lot more considered recently, and is it stressing me or is it serving me? Because the networking's great, but sometimes it can get expensive, especially if you're travelling up and down the country. Yeah. So is that stressing me out, the amount of money I'm spending, or am I know that I'm going to get something great out of this? And it's not even like knowing that you're going to get work. It's more so who the talks are by, the people that I know that are going to be there. Some are friends, and some people think, or maybe I'll meet some new people. So I've been more considered, I'd say, with networking. But yeah, I do like getting out and about. I do local networking too. Not much, but every now and again I do a couple a quarter. And networking online if I can. So again, I think that's more so the co-working communities. But I know that Enterprise Nation do a lot of lunch and learns, and sometimes if you look in the comments box, you can see where other people are. So I found people before that are in East London, and I'm just like, oh, where are you? They're like literally down the road. I'm like, do you want to go for a walk one day or something? I mean, obviously, be safe, literally. Yeah. And it's been like that, and we've become friends. I'm like, that was so weird. And that was like literally through a online lunch and learn session. So
that's quite interesting. That's quite a good tip to look at those ones.
Yeah, Enterprise Nation's a really good one for free lunch and learns. There's also Link Up London, and they're more charity based. But also, again, if that's the sector that you're interested in, it's good to look at those. Obviously, being freelance community, I love being in the being freelance community, and we do online co-working sessions and networking there. And we've also done meetups there. And I know people, when we've done the meetups, I think, I know somebody that got work when we were playing mini golf. So they really did get a job on the golf course. You know what I should mention is the co-work crew by Joe and Penny Pickering. They have their in-person co-working events, and they also do speakers at lunchtime. So I've done one of their talks at lunchtime before, and they're really great because you do work in the morning, and that's like in a communal area, and then you have the the talk at lunchtime, and then you go for lunch, come back and do a bit more work, and you have cake in the afternoon. Win-win.
What's not to like about that? So obviously we've talked about graphic design and ideas and different things about creativity. Do you do anything creative in your spare time, or do you kind of use up all your creativity in your work?
Yeah, a lot of my time is spent working. I must admit, that is my main, obviously, focus. Do you know what? I wish I could do more, I suppose, traditional creative work, maybe like going to a painting class or doing something like this or that or the other. Maybe I might have more time to do that. But what I do make time for is cycling. So I don't know if that's a creative, I suppose, mindfulness outlet for me. That is if I need to go out, I meet up with a group that I cycle with called Black Women on Wheels. I'll tell you what was creative about that. I designed their kit, so that was creative. But yeah, I would love to. I suppose my podcast is the most creative thing that I do, and getting that out to people. And that's what I make time for. So if I've got spare time, like even yesterday, I was planning out the sessions for the next few months and working out what's coming up. So that's my, I suppose, creative outlet as such at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting though, isn't it? When you have, when you do work for yourself, there is a bit of it all sort of blurs into one, doesn't it? Because, I struggle to think, where do I actually do something creative that's not vaguely... I think also because I talk about creativity, so anytime I'm thinking about it, it's probably because I'm trying to create something around it or talk to someone about it or something. And so I do have to stop sometimes and think about, is there actually any creativity in there for me rather than work related?
Yeah. But you do your doodles, don't you? So that's your creative outlet, isn't it?
I do. Well, I mean, and that's how my whole thing started with the penguin. Well, not started with the penguins, but sort of got rejuvenated when I said, when I procrastinate, I draw penguins.
I love it. Penguins are one of my favourite animals, and elephants and giraffes. So,
in fact, do you have any of these? I'm trying to think if there's been one in London. The art trails where they do the massive sculptures. I've got quite into seeing those with my daughter, who's 8, so she's quite happy to go and follow me to do whatever I suggest at the moment. But we've started going to different places, and we just get a map, and you just go off and see all these amazing things that people have painted.
They're great, actually. They're really good. They're amazing because it's a fun trail, isn't it? So you can jump on and off the bus or tube. I think we've had cows, and I think we've had birds before. Globes. I've seen the globes one. I love the globes.
Oh, right.
I don't know if you've seen those. They were actually, I don't 100% quote me, but I think I believe they're around diasporas, around slavery, and just the way that the world has seen black people. There were globes dotted around, and different artists has painted them in different visual ways of how they saw things in their world. And it was just so there was one outside Greenwich, and there was a few dotted around the city. So they were really cool to see. Right. Do you know where else I went to recently? Went to Kew Gardens, and there was an artist there, and he created these sculptures, and we had to go around Kew Garden and find the sculptures, and they were off these like big shiny metal sheets, but he'd sculpted them into flowers or leaves, so whatever you saw in them, you got the reflection of what was inside Kew Garden, so it made it even bigger. Oh, they were so beautiful, and they were huge, like really massive. So again, inspiration is everywhere.
Okay, so I think I've run out of questions now. If people want to find you online, where are the best places to look for you?
Oh, thank you. My website is Lyons Creative. That's Lyons creative.co.uk. And find me on Instagram is Ange. If you type up Angela Lyons, you'll find me on there. You'll see me in a bright yellow background colour. LinkedIn, if you type in Angela Lyons 1, that's you'll find me there. If you want to have a chat there, feel free to DM me. I'm happy to have conversations about creativity or design or anything around that. Yeah, that's the main places. And you can have a look at my podcast. It's on Spotify and all the usual places you get podcasts, creatives like us. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you very much for joining me. And I will see you at co-working very soon.
Thanks, hopefully. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to Creative Conversations. I'm Nina Lenton. I'd love to know your thoughts on today's topic. You can contact me via my website at ninalenton.co.uk.